Hi, I'm Mr. Pink, also known as Modern Synthesist, and I'm here to talk to you about another exciting Tyranid, which just got previewed on Monday, April 24th. As I predicted in my previous video, if you happen to have watched that one, that we'd be getting Space Marine Tyranid Space Marine. And as I expected, it was going to be another leader beast, because we've seen leaders from the Space Marine side of the 10th edition starter box. So now we see the first Tyranid leader beast in the form of the Winged Tyranid Prime. I'm going to definitely get into what I think about this model that we saw today from Games Workshop, but before we do that, I got to do a little bit of Winged Tyranid Warrior story time, because you might not realize it, but this is a big freaking deal for Tyranid players. That Winged Warriors are one of the Tyranid models that has had the rules for the longest, but has never had an official model. Sure, Forge World, whatever, it doesn't really count. There was no plastic model, there's no Games Workshop kit that had Winged Warriors. The fact that we're seeing our first Tyranid Warrior here, yes, it's a Winged Prime, is a really big deal for Tyranid players, and here's an explanation of why. Here's Tyranid Winged Warrior Storytime. It all started back in 3rd edition in 2001, where in that Tyranid Codex they had those lovely mutable genus rules, and they gave you the option to put wings on your warriors, making them fast attack and awesome. Fast forward to 2005, which is the release of 4th edition, and in that codex, similarly, wings were just something that you could add to warriors in their profile, like a biomorph, that would make them fast attack. It wasn't until 2006 when Forge World released the Amphalion Project, which was the Imperial Armor book focusing on Tyranids. That was when they introduced the concept of a Tyranid Shrike with the release of the Forge World Winged Warrior kit. I say Winged Warrior kit, but you could buy wings for your warriors. They cost £18 for a set of 3. But you needed to supply your own warriors, which cost £18 for a set of 3. So you're paying £36 to get Winged Warriors. Those are the first time we'd ever seen kind of an official model, but it's Forge World, so I don't know that I'd really count that. But still, Shrikes persisted. 5th edition Tyranid Codex in 2009, there was actually the first time we saw a Tyranid Shrike profile in the Codex, and as late as the start of 8th edition in 2017, with the Index Xenos 2, which had the Tyranid rules in it, in that book, you still had a profile for Tyranid Shrikes. And yet, there was never an official Tyranid Shrike model. People for years before the Forge World kit would buy Dark Pegasus wings, and these things were expensive. It was like $4.50 per wing, I think, so it was like $9 per warrior to get a set of wings. They were cool wings, but they were pewter, and you had to pin them to your plastic warriors. Anyway, it's been a nightmare to have Winged Warriors for so long in the Tyranid line. That was all to say that it's kind of amazing that Tyranid Warriors, Winged Warriors in the form of Shrikes, have persisted for so many years with no model. And also to set the stage that Tyranid players have been waiting for Winged Tyranid Warriors for a very long time. So that's why this model is kind of huge for us. However, to get to the actual model. So I expected that this was coming. Games Workshop said this was coming last week in their Next Week in Warhammer article. So this morning I was primed, I was ready. I was like, oh man, I gotta carve out some time on my lunch today to talk about this, make a video about it, because I'm gonna be so excited. And then I got the article and I whipped it open and I looked at the thing and I was like, what the heck am I looking at? Because though I just gotta say that the Tyranid Prime we're seeing here is solid. I love the design aesthetic that I'm seeing in the Tyranid Prime model overall. Got some big chonky hooves like we saw on the Termagants. The back carapace, if you look at it from the back, it's like a linebacker. It's like wide and big chonky armor plates. I love the dorsal spore chimneys on this thing. They're big and beefy. They look different. They don't look like the standard spore chimneys. They definitely don't look like what we currently have in the Tyranid Prime, which is kind of like that little Ravener looking piece that you slot into the back of the carapace. These are like some nice dorsal spines. I even like the head. I think that it's got warrior hallmarks, got a solid like mouth, tongue setup. The horn on the front is a little big, but it's hearkening to other leader beasts like the Hive Tyrant, and that's nice. And like the shoulders, it's got those nice shoulder plates. Even the scything talons. I mean, I like the current warrior scything talons, and when I saw this style of scything talons on the Von Ryan's Leapers 2 weeks ago, talk about that in my other video, I didn't love them. I didn't think they looked great. They're looking better on this guy. They're selling it on me more. They look more like actual scythes and less like blades that have been slapped onto a forearm. I'm not 100% sold on them yet, but I'm liking them. And I also like the long, lithe forearms that they have. So, oh, also the tail. The tail on this guy, mwah, fantastic. Long tail, got a good curve to it. It's got a funky end on it. This is a great model until you get to the wings. This very much feels like a walking Tyranid Prime model that someone was like, wait, you got to put wings on that. I gotta put wings on this? What do you mean? I designed it to be walking. No, you gotta put some wings on it. Okay, I guess I'm gonna put some wings on it. The wings themselves are cool. They harken back to the 3rd edition pewter Tyranid gargoyle models that came out But the least we say about those, the better, because I honestly still have PTSD from trying to assemble those things. Ugh. Anyway, they're cool. Like, the design is cool, especially since I've started harvesting the Tyrant wing arms because they're so long and using them for other things, cutting the wings off them. This guy's got some nice long wing arms attached to those wings. The wings themselves are just executed really poorly. Yeah, Malak has already mentioned that it's cool that it's kind of like knuckle walking on the wings. I do love that look. That's a good look. I love it when they do that with dragons, so they like fold up their wings and they walk on the knuckles of their wings. So that's cool. But like, guy's gonna trip over his wings. Guy's gonna trip over his wings. He's gonna catch his wings on his scything talon. He's got a membrane between like on the top of his wing arm that he's gonna like back up with his scything talon and pierce right through that. And the wings are in the lower arm sockets. This makes no sense to me that as recently as the Parasite of Mortrex, a winged kind of Tyranid warrior size thing that they did within the last year, they had the wings in the upper slots. They had the attacking arms in the lower slots. It worked out just fine. But this, like, they're plugged in the middle slots on the creature. They just seem like they're going to get in the way. They don't make a whole lot of sense. And they just look awkward. And a lot of people have kind of like slagged the pose on this thing. I'm kind of like pose agnostic because I repose most of my stuff anyway. I've got clippers, I've got green stuff, I can do it, it's easy. But the pose for me, for this, I feel it's dumb because the wings are just going to get in the way. He's going to trip over them. He's not going to be able to attack anyone because the wings are going to be all up in there. It was interesting that they decided to have the wings folded. That's neat. But have them like up in the upper slots, have them in like a backward slot, and then the other arms further forward, something like that, just to get them out of the way. Because as soon as I saw them, that was what really killed this model for me. I just saw those wings. That looks like an afterthought. It looks like you just tried to cram some wings into like an empty arm socket and just call it a day. So though I'm not a fan of the wings on this creature, and though I was expecting more, all this hype about Tyranid Shrikes, about Tyranid Warriors, was getting me to a point where I might get interested in putting some wings on a Tyranid. I'm generally not that big into that, but it was getting me going. But this is just, it feels like a poor execution of the idea of putting wings on a Tyranid Prime. But that isn't to say that this isn't a fantastic Tyranid Prime. I think walking, this thing is going to steal the show. It's got so many great design elements that I already went over. It looks big, it looks beefy, it looks bigger than a warrior. It looks like that interim step between a warrior and a hive tyrant. And as you know from some of my creations, I love making big, beefy Tyranid primes. So I think it's going to be really good for that. And I also am really excited that hopefully this heralds Tyranid Shrikes. We talked about Tyranid Warriors, the history of them just before. And a lot of people, Lynn amongst them, are very excited that the fact that we're getting a Tyranid Warrior with wings could well herald that we're getting winged Tyranid Warriors writ large in their own box set. So I'm excited for that. I hope the design of those is a little different from this one. I hope that since they're hopefully getting their own kit, just Shrikes, just Tyranid Winged Warriors, that they can make those wings make a little more sense rather than this one, which looks like it's trying to do double duty. Having the walking prime with wings attached. Let's just make the Shrikes a unique flying organism like we did with the gargoyles. We didn't slap wings on a termagant. We made like a creature that actually looks winged, that actually looks like it's meant to be. Let's do that for the Winged Tyranid Warrior. But I really hope the Winged Tyranid Warriors are coming. I hope that they have this cool wing design, because if these wings weren't in the lower sockets and they weren't like all up in the way and blocking everything, they'd be cool wings, but I want them better arrayed on the model. So let's hope for that cool wing design on a model that's purpose built to be flying, not also walking. And please, Sky Mother, if we get Winged Tyranid Warriors, if we get Tyranid Shrikes, don't give them hooves. Don't give them hooves. What is clippity-cloppity hooves on flying things? It makes no sense. We had the Flying Tyrant with the Scything Talons in the lower legs. That was amazing. Let's do that with the Winged Warriors. Better yet, let's give them claws in the lower legs so that they can actually like roost on branches and stuff and grab people. Let's do that. I understand this guy has hooves because it's like a dual kit where it's supposed to be walking probably and it's supposed to be flying as well. But please God, get rid of the hooves on Winged Tyranid Warriors. It doesn't work. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this model. Like I said, it's a beautiful walking Tyranid Prime that had wings duct taped onto it. Not so big on the duct taped wings, but I think that once you take those wings off this thing, it's gonna be mwah, immaculate. I think it's gonna be beautiful. This is further proof that we're dealing with one hot Tyranid summer coming up. What is a hot Tyranid summer? Here's the thing I recorded for my other video to tell you about it. I'm so excited about it being a hot bug summer that I've gone and made this fancy sticker with help from Vlepkade on Instagram, an amazing illustrator. And I'm gonna be handing out the sticker to all of my patrons over on Patreon. What? You didn't know I had a Patreon? Yes, I've got a Patreon. And that helps me create videos like this. So all of my patrons are gonna be getting the sticker in the mail. It doesn't matter if you sponsor me for $1, $5, whatever, everyone's gonna get it. So if you're not already a patron, please head over to Patreon and make sure to sign up there. And then you can get one of these fancy stickers to be celebrating the hot bug summer. How great is that? I really like what we're seeing here, and added on to what we've already seen from the Von Ryan Leapers, I would say that the upcoming Tyranid line is in very good hands. But tell me what you think. Put your comments in the comments below. Tell me about this model. Tell me what you think this means for winged warriors going forward. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you.